My name is Ellie and I'm one of the directors on the Waterfront Journals.
And I'm Hugh and I'm also one of the directors of the Waterfront Journals.
And I'm Alex and I'm also one of the directors on the Waterfront Journals.
Right, so we are staging a production of the Waterfront Journals, which is David Wojnarowicz's fantastic collection of monologues. David Wojnarowicz was an artist, an activist and writer.
I bet you never seen dancing like that. See, I learnt to dance up in the Savoy Ballroom in East Harlem in 1956.
The pieces are inspired by David's semi-autobiographical monologues inspired by his time sleeping rough on the docks of New York.
And we are using this space, the Thames Barrier Park, to put on a reading of these pieces.
I could show you some fancy stepping and sliding. See, I could do a step where I do a fancy step like this and I slide on my heel, you know, like how they do on roller skates? All the way from here to that manhole cover over there. All on my heel alone.
We're keen for the feeling when you're in the audience of not being able to sort of sit still, therefore not staging these pieces in a traditional theatre space, but there's something on its feet and transitory and in movement.
And there'll be 3 actors reading the monologues, and then we also have 2 commissioned artists, Nina Bowers, who will be creating a movement dance response to the pieces, and Tom Rasmussen, who is a fantastic musician, who will be coming here and creating a specific musical response to the work. One of our commissioned artists, Nina Bowers, who is really inspired by voguing in the ballroom scene, which sprung up in the same place almost at the same time as David was writing his work. I'm really excited about that kind of history also being woven in.
There is a sensuality with these pieces, and they're often about cruising and physical connection and thinking of the river as something that is also alive.
Time was easing out. I saw images of my arms in the faint light, the roughness of the bricks that made up the wall the guy was leaning on. His hard fingers curved around the nape of my neck. He was making a rough attempt to caress me.
Also being on a waterfront that's constantly changing and being outside in the elements and the light always changing depending on the time of day of the performance. The second performance on the 6th of September is timed around where the sun will be in the sky, and hopefully, if it's a clear day, the audience will also be witnessing the light changing and the sun setting.
We're also going to be presenting a reproduction of a panel from the UK AIDS Memorial quilt that was stitched by people who had friends or lovers who had died of AIDS back in the 90s. And so we're going to be bringing one of those panels to the performance. And Positive Ease actually house the quilt, which is London's largest HIV charity. And it's really important for us that we have that kind of charity engagement and that these pieces also help support people living with HIV.
I see David Wojnarowicz as a kind of queer elder who was lost. And things like this production hopefully will bring his work into conversation with people living today.
Taking something that we connect to historically or has happened in the past and seeing where it sits today with the involvement of contemporary voices and contemporary collaborators. So sort of a lovely sort of remixing.